Here I am. It's been a while since we did a truth time, but I have to be honest, I've been ignoring those calls. I've been saying I don't have time. I've been making excuses, and it's because I don't want to be real. I don't want to dance in those shadows. I have been hanging out in the light for a long time, and dancing in those shadows this year has been rough. But it's really what 2021 has brought us to, is a time to really begin to dance with our shadows. We have been denying them for so long. We have been hiding in the light. We have been spiritually bypassing things. We have been in denial that our shadows are part of us. And this can be so confusing because when we think of our shadows, we think of the things that we do that hurt other people. We think of the things that bring evil and bad into the world. And that is a part of who our shadow is, or can be expressed as. And maybe for a long time, it is the way that we were taught and chose to express our shadows. But what we're being called to do now is to recognize those shadows and to recognize that they are expressing themselves in those hurtful, painful ways, not because they're bad and wrong, but because they haven't been loved the way that they needed to be loved and nurtured the way that they needed to be nurtured, so that they wouldn't be angry and reactive and hurtful and mean. And that when we begin to shine the light on these shadows, everything begins to shift. As many of you know, and as many of you may not, because it was something that I was very guarded about for a long time, my marriage ended about 2.5 years ago. And I spent a lot of time after that really confused. I thought I had had it all figured out. I thought that I had found healing. I thought I had found a firm foundation in my relationship and in my life, and I thought I had it all figured out, and that's why I was doing what I'm doing, is because I have it all figured out. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and that every master realizes at some point along their journey that it's in the admitting that you don't have it figured out that you really begin to embrace being a true master. Understanding that the learning process never ends. Understanding that it's in those moments when your students surpass you, that's when you've achieved real greatness. It's in those moments when you face your darkest adversaries, your deepest wounds, when you have to cry out for help. It's in those moments that we grow and we stretch and we move from a place where we've been hidden in the light to a place where we begin to find balance and authenticity and realness. And we stop making things wrong and bad and evil. And we begin to find compassion, and we understand why they are the way they are and what they actually need in order to change. Real change happens when we stop denying the problems, when we stop pretending to be perfect, when we start to realize that by embracing who we are fully, whether that's sad or confused or excited or blissful, when we live our experience authentic, can't even say the word, it's so hard. When we live authentically, from our heart space, we give others the permission to do the same. And we begin to see the problems unfolding without us having to look for the solution. I encourage you to notice where you might be hiding in the light and to begin to surrender to your shadows in a way that brings healing to your pain and love into your existence. Namaste.